Chennai Super Kings and Rajasthan Royals. The IPL gods somehow tend to have their fates intertwining. So, how can we separate them? On chatter, so welcome back to the crew who are still in the hangover of that big chatter break. The teams who played the first ever IPL final, who've perhaps given the IPL its first ever blockbuster player trade. But there is still a lot more to be done for CSK and Rajasthan. Nagraj, you're the boss. Let's start with CSK. What are they looking at in terms of their other possible high profile releases?
Yeah, you use the right word, hangover. I'm still recovering from it, thinking how good this trade is. Or is it?
What's a hangover? I don't know what a hangover.
Yeah, I mean, it just like it seems by the day, it just seems like wish trades happened in IPL regularly, where then it would kind of also help both like franchises take some bold moves and take the right moves as and not get attached to a single name. Anyway, going forward, CSK, I think will my personal this is comes into the auction with a strong, very strong purse. I think they will release most of their Indian batters in the middle order that they had, which gives them about close to 10 crores. They also will have Sam Curran's 2.4 crores from the trade with RR. Plus, the bigger names are, I think, I wouldn't be surprised if they release both Rachin Ravindra and Devon Conway, those two guys. So now you add up all those numbers. Yeah,
I'll do
uh,
the math for you. That's 10.25 between Conway and Rachin, and at least three of those Indian batters in Hooda, Vijay Shankar, and Tripathi add up to another 6.3 crore. So you're talking 16 plus. And then you
and
add the Sam Curran
importantly,
2.4.
yeah, and importantly, all these releases are not going to hurt them because their core stays pretty much the same because they are going to retain, I think, all the replacements, which you can name them now.
Correct. It did feel like during the season that CSK had done their between season overhaul while IPL 2025 was playing out. Those replacements, of course, as a reminder to our viewers, were Ayush Matre, Urvil Patel, and Devil Brevis. So, Ronak, a lot of that batting core is already sorted with the players they had signed up.
Absolutely. So you can always turn a misfortune into good fortune. So unfortunate that the injuries took place for CSK, and how fortunate that the players that they managed to get in fired and they can actually be retained now. So well done to CSK for that business. Yeah, Brevis is a big one here because at the back of Brevis's success, and you can almost bank on his success for a long term with his age and the way his graph is going for a key role at 4 and 5. That allowed for, in my view, the trades that they did make. And we're assuming for the sake of this conversation now that those trades have been made. But yeah, the Karan and Jadeja exit, the Samson inclusion, whatever it is now, that's how it looks like. And you have a Mhatre, Samson, Ruturaj Gaikwad, Shivam Dubey, Devil Brevis, which is your top five sorted, you would think. But there are still big shoes to fill in that middle order all-rounder role, which Sam Curran, was not someone they could see filling. So do they now go in with a significantly high purse to get Cam Green to fill exactly that role? Or who is the overseas all rounder they can get in? The Rachin and Conway exit is very interesting. And I guess, again, an acceptance of the fact that there were certain things that um, didn't work out the way that they wanted to last year. They will have room for that one banker overseas player because Brevis, Noor Ahmed, and one of Patirana and Ellis will be
Yeah.
your first choice overseas. So they could really go all out for somebody like Cameron Green. Otherwise, with Khalil Ahmed, potentially Anshul Kamboj, they might need to still boost their Indian bowling reserves. But otherwise, that looks like a pretty decent core and a decent purse. So I think it's a fun auction for CSK.
Yeah, I
It's
guess
probably a
the only
yeah.
question, sorry. Yeah, I think
Go on.
Conway and Rachin, even after the IPL, hasn't been in great form in any of the games that he's played in T20s in particular. Conway, similarly, he's had a few 50s here and there. I guess the other big call they need to take is just Matisha Patirana, considering he's taking up 14 crores. Pathirana this year, his economy rate is above 10. He also doesn't play for Sri Lanka, which is a call that Sri Lanka take. They prefer Tushara and Ehsan Malinga. And especially with the form Nathan Ellis has been, I really wonder whether they would now see Ellis as being their number one overseas fast bowler And does that open the door to leave out Pathirana is I think the bigger question. Conway and Rachin, I feel like we're all saying they'll probably leave, but Pathirana could be the big question.
I have a question for you, Dustin. Did you have these doubts on Pathirana before his manager's post?
Actually,
This manager, man. I want to just message that man and say, what exactly are you up to, really? I'm sure CSK must have done that and also like I told him, boss, please don't play pranks here because this is trading week and release week. Pathirana, I don't think will be released, but his fitness, Dustin, you're right, is he's going to be one player whose fitness is always going to be under the scanner. We don't know when he starts playing. CSK are actually been the ones who are managing him pretty much since last 2 years in a way, where you can see that. But so which means they would need a overseas fast bowler for sure. But that I think when closer to the auction we can talk about the options. But right now I think
Yeah.
I don't think Pathirana is being released. Was there another? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just to
Well,
jump in, that one thing I've learned on how franchises look at spots often is you club the players that are in that role and you see what that total makeup looks like. So when you put Pathirana at 13 and Nathan Ellis at about 2, so if you've got, was it 2 or 3 for Nathan Ellis? Just give me a sec. Yeah, Nathan Ellis 2. So at 15 crore, you've got 2 fast bowlers that have, credentials for a difficult role. And if it is going to continue to be a batting friendly CSK, you're going to need bowlers of those skill sets, with Khalil doing as well as he did with the new ball. So I don't think CSK will be too worried about Pathirana just yet. They'll give this another season or two to work with him. And who's to say that, Pathirana won't bounce back? I don't think his international form or the fact that Sri Lanka have multiple bowling options in different phases that are preferred to Pathirana, I don't think that's really a mark against him. So I don't see that. I see the biggest challenge being more Indian seamers to cater for Khalil and Kamboj, more spin, because Noor Ahmed is your sole spinner. You don't have Jadeja, and I made this point on the transfer on the trade recording that we did, and that big number 6 kind of role. Who are they going to bring in as potential power hitters, finishers? They
yeah.
could go all rounder, they could go Indian. You will need to have cover for MS Dhoni, the batter, also for whenever he does play. They do have Samson, but he's a top order player. So those are the areas I think CSK will highlight.
Also,
But
sorry, Yash,
can
in
I
your
say that
calculation,
since yeah, go on, Dustin. I'll come after you.
Well,
no, in your calculation, did you factor in Ashwin being released now? That extra
Yeah, that's
9.75
also
crores
there.
also.
That's also there.
Yeah.
9
that's
point
that.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
So
adds
add
to
that,
that.
and we're looking at
Yeah.
30 then.
Yeah, I mean, since let's stick to the releases, this thing, retentions and releases this for now. And funnily enough, Ellis, who is barely played, who's such a really good T20 fast bowler, he's barely played in the IPL wherever he goes. Apparently, from what I hear, there have been several franchises who have been asking CSK for a trade
Yes,
for
that is
Ellis.
true. And I can,
And,
I
Yeah, I
can
and
mean,
back that up.
Which they should
it's
never
the
let him go.
yeah, but play him also, na.
it's
So
it's
that's
also
Yeah,
the
yeah,
oldest. It's also the oldest way to guarantee new IPL teams or new IPL interests. Do well in the bilateral against India, that is just before the auction. And Ellis has done that, not saying that he needed to prove much of his
Yeah.
worth. He is an established death pacer, death specialist. So yeah, CSK do still have him, unlikely to release him. Let's move to Rajasthan Royals. And they have a couple of their own Sri Lankan bowlers who didn't have the greatest of last years. So Vanandu Hasaranga, Mahesh Theekshana, could they be on the way out? Naga?
one of them. Unless Sangakkara thinks that I need Theekshana. I feel my bets are on Theekshana being released at the moment. Um, but funnily enough, with the Sam Curran trade, you look at the lineup that including the players that Weber Suryavanshi, etc. There are so many left-handers. Like I just was wondering, is Rajasthan becoming a left-handers 11? There's barring
Yeah.
Parag, and I'm not sure Dhruv Jurel,
Parag
right?
and Jurel are the only, whatever you'd imagine, could there be their top 8 right now with these two inclusions? Parag and
Yeah,
Jurel are the only right-handers, which actually
yeah.
I had got that jotted down a little later on. Is there perhaps then a case for someone like Nitish Rana, who's 4.2
No,
crore,
Nitish Rana is, I
to be
think,
dispensed
will
with?
be released. Nitish Rana will be released. I think the sure retentions
That was my
for,
question.
oh yeah, I think Nitish Rana is being released. The sure retentions are Jaiswal, Suryavanshi, Jurel, Parag. Shimron, that's 5. Then you have these 2 trades, so that's about 7. And then
So
the
sorry,
question
did
for
you
me
say
is Tushar
Hetmyer is going to be
Deshpande.
Hetmyer is going to be retained?
Yeah, Hetmyer is going to be retained.
Wow. Okay,
Uh,
so
yeah,
that's big.
because I think also like a left-hander power hitter, it's not an easy thing. They had Miller, they had everyone else, but I think Hetmyer will, from the knowledge that I have, Hetmyer is being retained for sure. But yeah, I mean the question for me outside of Hasaranga, not Hasaranga as much, but Thikshana is Tushar Deshpande. Whether whether RR will keep him, uh, whether they can find a quality bowler, India fast bowler, if they release him. I mean, I'm not sure because you need to check at RR. They won't have the biggest purse as such going into the auction.
Yeah.
So they will have to consider all these factors because they do need an India fast bowler also outside of Tushar again. It's not just Tushar. Because
Yeah,
they only have
because
what? Yeah, they have
yeah, I
Sandeep
only
mean
Chopra,
Sharma.
right?
they do have
Sandeep
Sandeep
Sharma is the
Sharma.
other guy retained. Yeah, sorry, I forget. Sandeep Sharma will
Yeah,
be retained, yes.
There's
So yeah,
Akash
Sandeep Sharma is the other one.
Narwal, and they have a
you
battery of uncapped Indian fast bowlers.
yeah.
But yeah,
And I heard there's one more trade RR might be involved in. Now, let's see in 3 days' time whether that, or in the next 3 days, it materializes. One more trade involving one
Do
player.
you do you
No, I
want to
can't
play
do
the
it
quiz?
Wow.
beyond
Now,
Do
that.
you
now
want to
let's
play
play
the
guessing
quiz game?
games.
No,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can.
Let's play
No.
Let's have
the.
the quiz again. Give
Okay,
us
so
No.
who
hints.
did he not name as definitely retained? Nagraj, he's named most of the big names as definitely retained. So I'm guessing this will be a smaller level trade of maybe like a Tikshana for somebody, is what I'm guessing.
Yeah, keep guessing.
okay. So I'll just quickly jump in here that I mean, I'm only going to go by reacting to what Nagaraj just said. That I'm shocked if Hetmyer gets retained this time. And it's not about the quality
Why?
of Hetmyer. It's at 11 crore in a small auction. We're already you've made big trades to fill gaps, but you also need to improve the squad. And Nitish Rana was one of their better players last year. Nitish Rana is one of the left-handers that actually counters the challenge of just being a left-hander because he plays as well as he does when he switch hits and reverse sweeps. Hetmyer, you will get a David Miller, you will get potentially Liam Livingston, you will get players
None of
of
these guys touch
degree.
Hetmyer.
That
I
is
mean,
a
you look at
interesting
Hetmeyer's
point of
stats, Rana.
opinion.
Last 5 years, Hetmeyer is literally in like the top 2 or 3 death batters in
He's,
IPL.
I am
yeah.
going. I have no doubt about Hetmeyer's credentials, but from Hetmeyer's usage last year, if you're just going to ignore that and go, okay, that was a different management and we messed that up, we'll use him better this year. Hetmeyer was not finishing enough games as he should
Yeah.
have for his
But
price point. And his
Ronak, I think fair that the returns are not there, and we'll come to another name soon in our the next
yeah,
in one of the franchises. It's similar challenge they have. Yeah, Hetmeyer's returns have not been strong, but Hetmeyer shared a very good, strong relationship with Sangakkara, and he was excelling at that point. So that makes a vital difference. It's not the
no, I
management or
mean,
coach as such, but I think the relationship does work. So if it works,
which will also extend itself to the Hasaranga point on whether Sangakkara enjoys a better rapport with them. I'm with you, Nagaraj. I'm not saying no, but
but the
on the
skill set, but the skill set of a left-hander finisher. Name outside of David Miller, name one left-hander finisher. And a left-hander finisher is a rarity as such. I mean, they have
it's
Sam Curran, but he's not exactly in the
yeah,
same
but
league.
Yeah.
Hetmyer was also rarely finishing for them, so there is
Yeah.
that.
So he better, yeah.
Sometimes
That's
it's
one
about
season.
actually
You don't
making.
necessarily release players based on one season. Like last 5 years, Hetmeyer literally has the most death runs in IPL. He has a
I
strike rate of
I was not
191.4.
expecting. I was not expecting such an attack for in defense of Hetmyer, but I accept that. I'm just saying at 11 crore when you want to free up money in the purse, that screams to me. When you strengthen your batting, you've gotten Ravindra Jadeja and Sam Curran. I mean, you've gotten two more left-handers there, by the way, and both presumably will bat in around that role.
Correct.
So for me, when you're trying to free up a purse, you're not going to release Jaiswal, you're not releasing Parag, you're not releasing Suryavanshi. It screams out that you release Hetmyer. It's a call you make to bring in someone of a similar skill set for a lesser point. That's all.
Okay, so just quickly, all right, you do that. Who do you get?
That's a call. You'll have your options. If you line up, you can foresee Miller coming in. You can foresee Livingston coming in. You can foresee. You can. I'll have to spend some time to see what you have, but you will get options over there. That is not
In
paramount to you.
these
That role doesn't need to be an 11 crore role for Rajasthan with the way they've traded and the decisions they've made, in my view.
in these smaller auctions, Ronak, players like Miller and Livingston tend to go for even bigger purses. Remember the year that Maxwell went for way more than we expected? You may not find a
Maxwell.
finisher for 11 crores.
It could be Maxwell or Stoinis as well,
Yeah.
that player, were it to
Don't think
be.
Stoinis, maybe Maxwell.
Well, I guess
Oh,
then another way of looking at this is, did you need to bring in a Ravindra Jadeja at that point at 18 crore? You've traded a 31-year-old for a 37-year-old. Could you have taken the cash for Samson and gone into the auction with 18 plus another 11 in Hetma and 29 and got Cam Green? There are all sorts of delicious ways of looking at things. But anyway, I'm
hmm.
I,
surprised. And I think it's a big year
I
for
feel
Hetma.
like,
It's a big year for
I
Hetma
mean,
if
the
he's
weight on Cam Green's shoulders, I feel like every team were mentioning Cam Green, Cam Green. I mean, I'm honestly a little fearful for the guy and his IPL season at this
invariably, there's
point.
always one overseas all-rounder we miss out when we do these, which we only realize once we see the final auction list. So I'm
Jason
sure that
Holder.
All right. Okay. We will wait to see. Just a few more days left till we get the official list of players retained and released. But why don't each of you pick one player of at least 5 crore plus that will be released by both CSK and RR? Dustin.
Conway and both Conway and Rachin, I think.
And for Rajasthan,
For Rajasthan, how much is Tushar Desh? Oh, Tikshana.
he's
Tikshana's
6.5.
4.4. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you'll
Dustin,
give me
you've
Okay.
that leeway and
you've
allow
not
me to say
answered that as
Tikshana.
per your as per
I'll
your.
I
I'll
mean,
take
I
that.
don't.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah.
Ronak.
Yeah, I guess Devin Conway is certainly heading to the auction. And I remain surprised that Shimron Hetmeyer is not. But if you're asking me for one other release going into the auction, like I would have retained Rana and let go of Hetmeyer. Simple as that.
Nagraj.
Yeah, Conway and the closest has to be Tikshana.
All right. That is it for CSK and RR. We'll be back once they have announced their players retained and released.